Hello there, spooky friends, and welcome to an episode of Storytime with the Scariest Podcast.
Woo!
I feel like I haven't done this in so long.
It's been 8 whole days.
Yep. I'm Robin Grace. This is Adam Diaz.
Hello.
And today we are going to read you folks some homegrown horrors, and Adam will enlighten us as to what those are.
Indeed, I will. So, a homegrown horror is a story that you wonderful folks have sent in so that we can read it to the wonderful audience that listens. It's typically a story that's paranormal, supernatural, spooky, creepy, coincidental, sometimes true crime in nature, and it's either happened to you, a friend, a family, or a family. It's either happened to you, a friend, or a family member, and they've given you permission to share it.
I mean,
who knows? It's just a story that you have that you want to share with us, and they're supposed to be true. They're supposed to be things that happen to you. It's not supposed to be like creepypastas or things that are made up. We don't get those, and we typically don't read them if that's the case. So just a quick reminder, and you have to give us permission to read them on the air, or else we most likely won't do it, just to err on the side of caution. But if anyone has a story like that they would like to share with us, Robin, where can they send them?
You can send them to our email, storytime@scariest.com, or just go to our website, scariest.com. There's a contact us page. You fill out all that fun stuff, and it gets to us that way. And we have all the different social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Do we have others?
I think that's the big three. So.
Okay, yeah.
So if you want to reach out to us and send us a story, you can, just like the person who did that we're going to read now. I don't know. Transitions are hard. It's been a long week, so we're both very tired, and we're excited to be back, and we're also excited to be able to sleep soon. So.
And we hope you folks enjoyed this week's little sneak peek at our Seen Missing podcast that we posted in lieu of a normal episode, because it was really fun to record. And, I don't know, we just like movies, and we hope you guys do, too.
I will say, since watching Goodfellas, which Robin had never seen before, one of her favorite things to say anytime money comes up is, fuck you, pay me. So that's been really fun dynamic to have around the house. But, all right, let's jump into the first story of the evening. This one's subject is another story for the pod. So this is one of the folks that sent in a story, said, I have more if you want them, and we're like, hell yeah, we want them. They're like, all right, and they sent us another one. So if you're one of those folks who's already sent one and has more to send, here's the call out. Send it in right meow. Just like Sean did. And it starts out like this. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hey, what's up? Been a while since my first email, but life has been hectic and I haven't had much time for listening. I'm back now and catching up, and I'm so happy that you read my entry about the shadow person I mistook for an imaginary friend as a kid. That's terrifying.
It is terrifying. Shadow creatures in general.
Yeah. Imaginary friends in general are terrifying.
I mean, especially those shadow hunters.
I hate you, and I hate that show. Today's installment is a series of events that have happened in the house where my parents are currently living. The first incident occurred not too long after they purchased the property. I was in the midst of a bad breakup at the time, and my infant daughter and myself were staying there because of it. I had put her to bed for the night and retired to my own room to play a game on my computer. I had a baby monitor set up in her room, and the receivers were located in my room and my parents' room. Late into the night, sounds of her fussing and stirring began to softly emanate from the receiver set next to me. I rose quickly from my seat, afraid that she might wake my parents, but stopped as she began to quiet on her own, and soon I could hear the soft breathing of a sleeping baby. I sat back down and returned to my game, thankful that she was able to soothe herself, but it didn't last because only a few minutes later, the relative silence was shattered as she broke into a full-blown crying fit. As I jumped to my feet, I heard an older woman's voice come through the receiver saying, "Shh, it's okay." Damn it, I thought, my mother's awake now. I raced out of my room and into my daughter's room to take over, only to find her peacefully drifting back to sleep and nobody else there.
That's terrifying.
In fact, both my parents were still asleep.
Baby monitors in general, it's like, yes, it's useful. Yes, people can use these for important things. But at the same time, scary things can happen, and especially if you have the frequency get confused with another device or
where you could
that.
Hear your neighbors on the phone.
Yes.
Or whatever, like
and
that episode of Modern
terrifying.
Family. Yeah, baby monitors having random voices come through them are absolutely haunting. Alright, the email continues. Fast forward quite a few years. My daughter and I have long since moved out, and I am now married. My parents have left town to visit friends for the weekend, so my wife and I get a sitter for the kids so that we can go make use of their nice empty house and their hot tub. Smiley face. We had just
Is it
arrived.
smiley face or winky face?
Actually, I think it might be a winky face.
Shut. Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
We had just arrived and carried our things down the hallway to my old room. We sat on the edge of my old bed and were talking before we planned to get changed for the hot tub. As we talked, we heard the back door open and heavy footsteps cross the kitchen floor. Then into the hall. We both tensed, ready to charge the intruder as we watched the open door into the hall. Our apprehension turned to confusion and terror as the footsteps approached closer and closer, finally stopping merely feet in front of us.
But they didn't see anyone.
But nothing was there.
That's creepy.
It should have been there, but it wasn't. Just nothing. Needless to say, we simply grabbed our things and left, agreeing to never do that again. Yeah, that's definitely an instance where I would totally nope the fuck out as well.
Yep. Big ol' nope.
The event that really makes my skin crawl, though, because those two were so peaceful. The event that really makes my skin crawl, though, took place between those. I had just moved in with my future wife. We were sitting up late one night just having fun, and she mentioned that she wished we had the stuff to play Rock Band. I suggested that we go pick up my set that I had left at my parents', so we hopped into the car and drove over there.
I love Rock Band.
I was going to say, FYI, Robin loves Rock Band. One of the
love Rock Band.
The best birthday gifts I ever got her was like the full-blown band kit for the new Rock Band that came out like 4 years ago. Yeah, that was fun. We still have all that shit in our loft right now. We could go play if we wanted to. I suggested that we pick up my set that I had left at my parents' house, so we hopped in the car and drove over there. I already read that. We pulled into the driveway, and because it was 3 a.m., I went around back to use their hidden key, doing my best to be quiet and not wake them.
Why are they trying to get stuff to play Rock Band at 3 a.m.?
You've never had that witching hour Rock Band urge?
No.
From where she was parked, she could see through a large picture window into the living room and part of the hall leading to both bedrooms and bathroom. I entered through the back into the kitchen, then to the living room. Before getting my things, I turned and went down the darkened hallway to the bathroom to pee. I then grabbed my things from the living room and left the way I had entered. Returning to the car, my wife asked me what my mother said about me showing up so late at night. I explained to her that I had been very quiet and they hadn't woken up, so obviously my mother hadn't said anything to me. She immediately became upset, wanting to know why I would lie about such a trivial thing, when with her headlights shining through the window, she could clearly see an older woman following close behind me as I went down the hallway. I totally have cold chills.
That's so scary.
I'm not sure what look came over me, but it was clearly enough to end any argument before it began, as she, with her own look of horror, quickly put the car in drive and got us both out of there as fast as possible.
Shut up.
Thank you again, and I hope you enjoyed installment number 2. We absolutely did, and we're looking forward to installment number 3. I would just stay away from that house altogether. I'm really curious if your parents have had any experiences. I feel like you should go ask them very directly and let them know to email our show and tell us all about them so we can share them with the world. But thank you so much for sending that in.
Yeah.
That was really good, and it gave me cold chills on a really, really hot day. So you know it was scary.
That's really, I immediately, as soon as you read that, imagined it. And just imagined if that were me walking through this house and there's just somebody else seeing that there's a woman following me through no.
I think it's funny because so many folks say stuff like, I just feel like I'm being watched, or I get the feeling like someone's watching me all the time. And that's not nearly as bad as not feeling like you're being watched when you are. You know, because you don't know how creepy and scary of a situation that you're currently in. Yeah. So basically what I'm saying is you should always be afraid. So sorry about that.
All right. So this next story has been sent to us from someone who'd like to be called Anonymous Witch Gal. Thank you, Anonymous Witch Gal.
It's a pretty solid name.
It goes, "Hey, Robin and Steven. LOL, JK Adam."
Okay. It's like every 2.5 months we cycle back to that thing where everyone fucks up my name on purpose. It's nice to know it's back. It's come back again.
I'm getting straight to the point here. My little brother, just turned 2, is constantly talking in what little vocabulary he has about how he sees monsters and ghosts. It is extraordinarily freaky. He one time cried because of it. We ask him to describe them, but he can't really say anything because he is a baby. It freaks us out, and he sees them in usually just this one room above the garage. I live in Las Vegas like you guys, so no basements. I'm a baby witch and have been trying things to get bad energy out of the house. But honestly, I can't tell if it's working because my brother hasn't really stopped seeing monsters. The rest of my family is completely unaffected, so I really don't know what's up with my brother. Anyways, thanks for reading this story. Keep on creeping on.
Short and sweet.
Thank you so much for sending in your story. Sounds like you need to get a new brother.
I was going to say,
LOL.
Two options. One, throw out the brother. And two, he's two. He has an overactive imagination. We don't always have to jump to the fact that because they're a child and they're in tune with things, they might be seeing things that are real. They also might not. They might just be like having nightmares and not distinguishing them from reality, or just making shit up. Like, kids tend to have overactive imaginations, and I don't want anyone out there to dismiss like some credible stuff just because it's coming from a child. But if you're taking preventative measures like saging the house or anything else that you would do to like drive out bad spirits, and it's like no one else has felt that way and you don't feel anything, when your brother is just like, monsters. You're like, what monsters? And he's like, monsters. Then it's just, it's not a reliable witness. That's all I'm saying. It's not going to hold up in court.
Okay, so with sage, we have sage in the house, but it's like
what you eat with, right?
What you eat. Yeah. Can you just set that on fire?
I don't know.
We
need a witch out there to tell us, like, what kind. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of different types of sage that you're supposed to use.
Yeah, I know there's
white sage.
Yeah.
Which has different powers.
Jinx, you owe me soda.
I was going to say buy me a Coke, but I knew you wouldn't say it. But yeah, so I don't know. I can't diagnose it. I'd say hang on to the brother, wait for them to grow up a little bit, and see if anyone else develops like feelings of eeriness around that house.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a room over the garage. Maybe something happened there.
Pretty dark.
I mean, there was an episode of Ghost Adventures that I saw a few months ago.
I'll start editing these out, I swear to God. If you start quoting Ghost Adventures like you quote all the other fucking shows, I hate that show so much.
And there was one haunted place where the room over the garage was the haunted place. So maybe it's just rooms over garages.
Anything that overlaps with Ghost Adventures is most likely fake, so I'm going to go ahead and say that you probably don't have a problem, but an overactive imagination of a child. So, yeah, take that, Ghost Adventures. So before we move into our next story, we are going to take a really quick commercial break. And we're back. Okay, so moving into my next and my last and the third of 4 emails for the show. The subject is Run for Cover. Starts out like this. Hello once again, great show.
Thanks.
I speak on behalf of the show. Hello, because that's how our show sounds. I have written before about the black cloud that hurt when I looked into it and still can't explain how. Feel free to share this if you find it worthy. Back in the late 80s once, I was 14. I had my friends drop me off at this particular cemetery in South Texas one night. Seems like a weird place to hang out, but you're 14, so I guess I understand it. I'd hung out there numerous times before, so this wasn't out of the norm for me. I had been drinking Thunderbird and had felt quite relaxed.
What is Thunderbird?
It's a booze.
Is it really?
No, I don't promote underage drinking, especially not this particular wine. The bottom of Texas...
Thank you.
The bottom of Texas is very flat, so when there was a full moon, like there was that night, one could see their surroundings quite well. I had traveled to the back of the cemetery and started to see something white and hovering about 3 feet above the ground of a certain grave. With chemical-induced curiosity, I made my way towards it.
No!
The closer I got, the more apprehensive I became trying to figure out what this was while I was running different scenarios in my head, i.e., flower with a long stem, etc. Then I realized that it was floating strangely. I had never ran so fast in my life. The 1.5 miles home to my covers seemed like a blur.
What?
Save for the ancient street lights, which would shut off every time I was under one of them for some reason, which in my mind at that time could only indicate something infernal was chasing me.
Ghosts.
That's super terrifying when that happens. If it happens like once, you're like, oh yeah, it's weird. But if you get like repeated lights going out every time you approach it, it definitely feels like something's...
Like lights out or something?
Something's up, yeah.
Oh, how fast could you run home in a mile? Like run a mile?
How fast could I run a mile if I was scared?
Yeah.
Probably 7-minute mile if I was scared.
In your shape now?
The fastest, I don't know about in my shape now. The fastest I've ever run a mile is 7 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and say if I was terrified, I could do that again. But in my shape now, I don't know, maybe a 10-minute mile. How fast could you run a mile?
I don't run.
Yeah, she'd just die. Okay, cool.
I would just die.
With daylight came courage and the resolve to show this ghost who was boss. I felt this overwhelming need to find out what it was that I had seen. That afternoon, when the hangover had abated, I rode my skateboard to the place, which almost caused my demise and would surely have made me a permanent resident. I found the grave and the white and chrome balloon that was half deflated on top of it, mocking me.
Oh my gosh.
I still can't wash the feeling of stupidity away.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for reading. Daniel. That's so fucking funny, dude. It's just like, I think you erred on the side of caution and got totally spooked and took off. But, you know, it's a lot safer than if it had been something like super terrifying that you just decided to approach while slightly drunk.
That would have been funny, though, if you got there and you're like, God damn it.
Stupid balloon. That is hilarious. But who brings balloons to a cemetery? I brought flowers. I brought lots of things to a cemetery, but I've never brought balloons. So who knows? Maybe it was just something for a birthday celebration that someone brought. It's just so funny that in the dark night, all you could see was like the silvery balloon floating, and we're just like, fuck this, I'm out, and then ran home.
I think a circular balloon, if the light shone on it and it was like kind of ghostly looking, you don't play Animal Crossing, you don't care, but there's a ghost in Animal Crossing that you can run into periodically at night, and it's just this circular looking ghost, and he's afraid of you.
That's cute.
And so that's probably what I would think if I saw that. I'd be like, oh, cute.
Would you keep approaching? You're scared of pretty much everything.
Why would I? No.
Because if you're like, oh, cute Animal Crossing ghost, I was like, oh, so you'd go ahead and like approach this ghost.
No. I'm not. No.
You'd still run away.
Yes.
Actually, you just said you don't run, so you'd still just walk away.
I would walk fast.
Oh, you'd speed walk?
Speed walk.
Okay.
I'm not good at running. If I ran from this end of the room to the other, I would be dying on the other side.
Wow. It's intense.
I'm bad at running, okay?
Okay,
it runs in the family.
I'm basically just going to have to throw her on my back and run her out of any bad situation, so we'll both probably wind up dying.
All right, so this final email of this episode is titled, We Have Ghosts We Inherit.
Wow.
It's a creepy title.
It's a good title. I'm drawn in. I want to know more.
All right. Hi to Adam and Robin and little scary-ish sister and to scary-ish mom. Happy belated Mother's Day, and thank you for all you do. Also, happy birthday. That's for you, Mom.
Wow. Hi. Thank you for sending that in. Thank you for all the shout-outs.
I added in the birthdays.
I figured you did.
All right.
I was going to be kind of creeped out if they knew my mom's birthday.
All right. Jay Valora back again with just a couple of stories about ghosts that have followed my family through the generations of relatives. The following stories may be a bit lengthy. Please feel free to separate them as needed. Okay, so number 1. The basement couch. Much like Adam's family, my dad and siblings ran around having bridge parties, visiting haunted houses, abandoned homes, and partying in the forest at a place merely called, quote-unquote, there.
That's pretty fucking creepy.
Basements exist, and luckily, my dad's was decked out with black light posters, a red shag-carpeted wall, and a window that could air out whatever they were smoking in the 70s. When I think of a shag carpet like wall, I think of Get Him to the Greek and the song.
Oh, yeah. Pet the Furry Wall.
Yeah.
When I think of black light posters, I think of the fact that you get a black light poster, then a black light, and then you see how fucking disgusting your room is when you turn the black light on. It never goes well.
Well, during Thanksgiving of 2009, my cousins and I were playing with a Ouija board out in the garage of my aunt's place. There were 8 of us, but only 4 of us were messing with the board. I, luckily, wasn't one of them. I know better than to mess with that bad juju. However, I was a witness, which was pretty exciting when the board started answering the questions being thrown out. The questions were pretty basic. Hello, is anyone with us? And the board goes, yes. Do we know you? No. Where are you? And then it spells out, I am always here.
That could be really sweet if it's like a guardian angel or a spirit of a family member, or absolutely horrifying if it's like a demon or some sort of poltergeist. Or it could be total bullshit, like we always say. It could just be someone who is playing with it, messing around. So,
needless to say, that answer was creepy. We all just laughed it off while blaming one another for moving the planchette. And then another question. Do you know anyone here? Yes. How would we know? Basement couch. All right. We live in Texas. There are no basements here as we are below sea level. Confused and laughing at the random answer, my cousins finished up, said their goodbyes, and closed the board. Simple as that. Nothing serious, nothing major, until we went into the house to tell our elders about it. My dad and aunt asked, quote, who told you about the basement couch, end quote. We shrugged and explained the questions and answers from the board. They pulled us out to the garage and explained, quote, when we were kids, we played with a Ouija board up in Ohio.
Oh, fuck.
In your dad's basement. We were all sitting around, and when we asked if anyone was there, it said yes. When we were all making fun of the board, it spelled out couch, end quote. My dad rubbed his face before he added, I had a couch down there and there had to be like 5 people on it. We chucked the couch after it tilted back at a 45-degree angle and then slammed back down that night. Whoever you spoke to tonight has to know about that damn couch, end quote. We contacted the same entity in 2009, the same one my dad probably did in 1973. As I said, we inherited a ghost.
That's a long time to wait to talk to someone.
Yeah.
Just saying. I would be throwing around couches too if I had to wait that long to talk to someone every single time.
Then the second story is titled, He Hushed Me.
Wow.
My father...
Shh. Yep, just happened. Just saying. It was scary, wasn't it?
I'll quit this shit right now. My father is one of 5, meaning he is the only son with 4 sisters. Woot woot! I was very lucky to grow up near family to the point that we got to see one another once a week. This meant the kids got to have many sleepovers throughout the years. Well, each month, an aunt would switch off for sleepovers. Staying the night with my Aunt Elena meant we all got to sleep on her California King. Sweet, right? Yes, California King beds are the greatest beds of all time.
I miss my California King so bad.
Apparently, there's something
so
called...
Bad.
There's a different king-size bed called like an Alaskan King or something like that.
I've not heard of it. However, I will look into it and daydream about a day when I have a room big enough to hold a king bed again.
The sleepover started fine and ended great. Pizza for dinner, Donkey Kong on the Super Nintendo with Otter Pops. I don't think they make actual Otter Pops anymore. I think they're just like juice pops or whatever. Because I haven't seen a box of Otter Pops in forever. And Otter Pops, like the box was like blue and pink striped and said Otter Pops on it. I don't know if you remember those.
I remember it, yeah.
Anyway.
I'll leave it up to Spooky Friends to confirm whether or not Otter Pops exist anymore.
You know, the plastic ones that split your mouth. Yeah, they turn you into Kuchi Sake Ona. That one chick, the slit mouth woman chick.
I was going to go with the Heath Ledger Joker, where he's like, you want to know how I got these scars? And then it just cuts to like an Otter Pop. It's like, oh yeah, me too. Totally got it.
We head to bed and pass out, but like any other 6-year-old, I needed a glass of water in the middle of the night. Luckily, my aunt always left the bathroom light on in case one of us needed to get up. What's funny is this past weekend, my sister needed a nightlight in their guest room because they have
I love this.
2 young kids. And her husband came in and was like, hey, do you guys have a nightlight? And I was like, I have one.
You're goddamn right,
we do. It just says Diggle Bix on it.
For those of you who have never watched Solar Opposites, you need to subscribe to Hulu and watch Solar Opposites because that shit's hilarious. Made by the same guys who make Rick and Morty. It's like everyone has a second show that's almost identical to the first, you know? It's like Simpsons, Futurama, Family Guy, American Dad, and now Rick and Morty, Solar Opposites, and they're just different enough where it's fucking hilarious. That's what Solar Opposites is. And
anyway,
Oh, you're going to anyway me? Just saying that's where Diggle Bix comes from. It's not something we made up on our own.
They had this nightlight that said Diggle Bix all weekend in this room with their 2 kids. Obviously, I don't understand what that means, but I just thought it was the funniest thing. Anyway, I sat up, but immediately... Wait, did I already? Yes. No. Hold on. I sat up, but immediately felt as if I was being watched. I looked up and saw a middle-aged man standing in the bathroom doorway.
Terrifying, because if it's just, you know, a human being, what the fuck is a middle-aged man doing in the doorway right then?
He was as tall as my dad, had thin brown hair, glasses, and was just standing there. Oh my God. I think your mom's phone rang and it scared the crap out of me. I was like, what is that sound?
My mom's phone did ring. Did it sound like a middle-aged man standing in a doorway? I don't know why it scared you.
This ghost was just standing there watching this person. Anyway, my aunt is a bachelorette to this day, so I knew then, like I know now, no man lived with her. As I watched him watching me, he pulled his finger to his lips and hushed me before going into the bathroom and shutting the door. What if that was a real person?
It could have been a real... When this person said, my aunt is a bachelorette, I thought, oh, she had a gentleman caller stop by and stay the night, and you just happened to see him going to the restroom, you know? It's like she was probably like, oh, it's okay, like... My nieces and nephews are asleep. She read ahead. She has spoilers. She does this every fucking time. All right, keep going.
Creeped out, I covered my head with my blanket and went back to sleep, never to see him again. It wasn't until years later, when I was 19, that I brought it up to my aunt, and she said, well, you know why I bought that condo for so cheap, right?
Oh, fuck.
A guy hung himself in the bathroom, and she left it at that.
Wow.
What the French toast?
I think that's your aunt's way of not admitting to the fact that she had someone spend the night and didn't want to tell you that when you were there, she had a booty call sneak in and stay the night.
I'll keep sending stories bit by bit. Thank you so much. Best regards, Jay Valor. Thank you so much for that story. That is absolutely, both stories, but that one is absolutely terrifying to me.
What's so good about that last story?
I just imagine a creepy old dude lifting like some bony little finger. Yeah. No.
What I love about that story is that the other possibility that it was an actual human being, like if you were to try and be really skeptical about it, is equally as awesome because it means that something else happened where there was a human being in there. And if you try and take it to like maybe they actually knew the aunt, it's still funny. So that's just a great story all around. So thank you so much for sending that in. So I want to thank everyone who sent in their stories this episode. We sincerely appreciate it when you folks reach out with your homegrown horrors for us to read. It's always nice to be trusted with that sort of thing for, various different reasons. Sometimes it's not easy to write them. Sometimes it's really fun, but private. So either way, we appreciate it. If you have a story you would like to share with us, please email storytime@scarish.com or go to our website, scarish.com, and click on Contact Us. You can fill out that form. It comes directly to us, or hit us up on any of our social medias. Facebook is facebook.com/scarishpodcast. Twitter is @scarishpod, and Instagram is @scarishpodcast. Robin, for folks who would like to donate to us, how can they do so?
You can go to patreon.com/scarishpodcast. Those are monthly donations. Couple different tiers to check out on there. I'm planning on maybe doing other tiers because Patreon just introduced some new stuff too. I think that'll be cool.
That's exciting.
And yeah, so check that out. Ad-free episodes. We're going to be putting 2 other episodes of Scene Missing on there in the next few weeks, I think. Oh, cool. And coffee, ko-fi.com/scarishpodcast. Those are one-time donations. And then all your donations go to helping us upgrade our studio setup, keep us going, keep us creating content, keeping us creeping on.
Wow, I was like, is she going to say it or is she just going to keep rambling?
And we really couldn't be here without all of you, so.
Yeah, so thank you so much to everyone who listens, everyone who submits their stories. We appreciate every single one of you. And I think that's just about everything we have for Storytime number 132. So, Robin, go ahead and sign us out.
Keep on creeping on, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.